Welcome everyone. IEEE presents Technical Series, and this series is on Django. I am Ananya Ghosh and I'll take you through the journey of Django. So first we start with Introduction to Django. Django is a high-level Python web framework that encourages rapid development, clean, pragmatic design. So Django is used to design web applications. It is mainly used in the backend part. Django makes it easier to build web applications quickly and with less code. Django has inbuilt features or ready-made components which we can use for rapid development. So we take you through the Django documentation. So Django has a lot of documentation, a high-level overview of how it is organized will help you know where to look for certain things. So all these things are available in documentation. This is the link to the documentation, and the documentation looks like this. So the documentation has tutorials. It has topic guides, tutorials on how to install, how to go ahead with the project, and topic guides like each topic, guidance on each and every topic in Django, all the codes and commands. Then reference guides contain technical reference for APIs and other aspects of Django machinery. How-to guides are recipes. They guide you through the steps involved in addressing key problems and use cases. So you can all go to the Django documentation and start off with the project. So we go through the features of Django. So Django has an admin interface. It has default database SQLite 3. It supports a large set of database systems including MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, etc. It is lightweight web server to facilitate end-to-end application development and testing. So the model view template MVT, this is very important. Django itself takes care of the controller part, the software code that runs the interactions between the model and the view, leaving us with the template only. So the template is a HTML file mixed with Django template language. Django template language, we'll soon learn that. The developer provides the model, the view, and the template, and then just maps it to a URL, and Django does the magic to serve it to the user. So this is the flow which the Django follows. Now today we are going to learn how to build the Django project, and we'll be working on a project named Krishi Sahayak, which is already built by me, and I'll be explaining how I have built the project. The tech stack involved in this project in the front end is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Bootstrap, and Tailwind CSS, and the backend contains Django, which is mainly Python. So now we will be going through the steps to start off with the project. So firstly we have to install VS Code, and I expect everyone has installed VS Code, or we can also use PyCharm for this project. Then we have to install Python. So for Python we need 2.6.5 or higher for recent latest Django version. Then we have to install Django. So we install Django with this command, pip install Django. So I'll take you through the commands in VS Code. Then we have to make a folder named as you wish. So you can name it as you wish, but yeah, we have to make sure we do not name it as Flask, Python, Django, something like that. After that, we can make a folder named as we wish as per the project we are building, and we have to open VS Code in that folder. So after opening VS Code in that folder, we start our project. So we run this command in the terminal of VS Code, Django-admin start project my site. Now this my site can be the name of your project, whatever you want to name it. Then we create a project with this command, as I said, and then we have to run the server using this command, python manage.py run server. We have opened the VS Code, and we have entered the project folder. So now we will be opening the terminal, and as I said, we'll be installing Django first. So pip install Django. I already have it installed, so it is showing me requirements already satisfied. So it will take a little time and it will install the whole Django for you. Then we will run the command python -m Django version. So it will give me the version 3.2.4. So for you, it will give you your version that has been installed. And then we will be creating a project folder. So here I will run the command python Django start project named, let me name it as my site. So, okay, why is it giving me an error? Because I already have one named as my site. So I will have to give it some other name. So I'll give it by my name. Okay, so first we run the command python -m Django start project. Let us name it by my name. Let's see. Yeah, it's created. So now I'll just take you through this folder. Let me close the terminal. And now see, automatically Django has inbuilt codes that he has given me. So now I open the folders one by one. Init.py. So in this one, it is a compulsory folder the Django needs. Then we have asgi.py. Then we have settings.py, the most important file. For this tutorial, I'll be telling you about the most important things in Django, which is enough to build a basic project in Django. So here we have to first install path. After that, all these codes, base directory, secret key. So we see this debug. So this debug true means it will show me the errors that are happening while I'm compiling the code. But if I turn it into false, it will show me the basic 404 error code. After that, allowed hosts. So when we host our web app in with some domain name, so we can put those domain names over here. And then we have installed apps, middleware, templates, databases. So whatever database we use, we have to put the details here. Then authentication, password validators, and all these are there. So this is one of the most important file where all the high level advanced settings are done for the project. Then we have urls.py. So in this file, we will be mapping the URLs with the views and the models. So what happens is whenever we go to some address, URL address, so it will tell me what is to be shown to the user. So suppose we go to /admin, a URL /admin, then it will tell me that what is to be shown to the user basically. And or else we can make our own URL patterns as well, we'll be seeing very soon. So when we go to that path, it will be telling me what is to be shown. Then we have wsgi.py, and finally we have manage.py. So firstly what we have to do is we have to close this VS Code and we have to open the VS Code from this folder named Ananya. In my case it's Ananya. You can name it as anything you want. So I will be closing the VS Code and I will be opening this folder. So now I have opened the file and I will run the code in the terminal. Python manage.py run server. And don't be worried about this error. So here is the link, https 127.0.0.1:8000. So here we will find our website launched. So we control and click on this link. The moment we click on this link, it brings us to this page. This is inbuilt Django page. Here is the link that we came to, and this shows us this page, and it says that we have successfully installed Django. Now we can start off with our project. So we finally are going to start our app. So we run the command python manage.py start app and then your app name. So app name I'm keeping as tech session, and there, can you see this app has been created. So in this folder I see there is a lot of things again. So here is a migration. So after that we have init.py. So init.py tells us that okay, this folder is based on Python, and then admin.py, then apps.py, then models.py, tests.py, and views.py. So first, without any delay, we will be first creating a folder in this folder named tech session named urls.py. Then it's made. After that, I'll explain you all the files. So first we go to views.py. So in views.py, we will be creating functions. Functions, and those functions we will be mapping with our URLs in urls.py. So in these functions, we will define that when the user goes to a certain URL extension or a path, it should be able to view this HTML page. So that is what views.py contains. Then test.py, then models. So in models, we will be creating models or for our database. So from the views, the data will go to the models.py will be creating a model from where data will go to the database, and these models are registered in the folder named apps.py. So here we have to register the folders or the models that we have created. So this is what the basic structure of the Django folder is. So we can also see a db.sqlite3. So SQLite3 is a default database of Django. So this has been created when we had run the server using manage.py run server. So this was created. Now we will be creating the folder for the index.html or the HTML files. So we will be creating a folder and we can name them templates, and in this folder it will be containing all the HTML files, and we will also create a folder named static. So in the static will contain all the CSS, JavaScript and the images. So all the CSS folders will be contained in a CSS named file, which file will be inside the static. So inside static, there will be a CSS file, a JS file, and a file named images. And whatever extra files you require for icons or for fonts, you can create those files and put it in the static. So now as we have got the basic introduction about Django, its folder structures, what the folders and the files mean in the folders, we will now straight away go to the project that we were talking about. So now this is my project which I have named Krishi Sahayak Web. So in the Krishi Sahayak Web named project, I have made a folder. Rather, I have made the app folder. So the project folder is Krishi Sahayak Web, and inside that the app folder is Krishi Sahayak. So in that I have all these necessary files and folders. Then I have Krishi Sahayak index. So in this file or folder, I have all the HTMLs. And in Krishi Sahayak web, as I said, this is the project folder. The project folder is the only folder which contains the settings.py, and no other folder contains the settings.py. And then I also have the static folder where I have assets, CSS, fonts, icons, images, JavaScript folder, video and web fonts. Then I have the manage.py, db SQLite 3, procfile and requirements.txt. These two files are not required. These are required for the hosting purpose of the web app. So till manage.py we have all the necessary files. Now we start off with the project. So firstly we have to go to the project folder settings.py and we have to register or put our app in under installed apps. So here you go, Krishi Sahayak I have installed in the installed apps. So after that we make sure that the debug is converted to true, and these are all the original settings that has been done. So in the static URL, we already have static URL given. I have also included a media URL, and these are all extra things that we require. I'll take you through all of this. Then we have to create a static files directories. So we write it like this: static files underscore directories or dirs equals to base directory base dir slash static comma. So we have to make sure that the indentations are correct because this is Python. And then we write the Krishi Sahayak web, like the project folder, and then the static. So here it basically connects the static files to the index.html or whatever HTML files we have. So the static files are connected to the HTML files. So now we go to urls.py under the project folder. So here you can see this is the comments. It is commented basically. The process is written over here. You don't even need to go to the documentation. All the steps are given over here itself. So you have to just follow those steps. So from django.contrib I have imported admin, path, include, settings, and then static. So here we just concentrate on this part, URLs patterns. So here I have included admin, which was already given. I did not include this. I have only included this empty, inside this empty code. Then I have written include Krishi Sahayak.url. So what have I done? So Krishi Sahayak is this folder, my app folder. Here in the urls.py, I have given all the path. So this looks very confusing, I know. So we first start with simple things. So here I have given the path views.index name equals to index. So it's saying views.index. So I go to the views.py and I see what is there. So here I can see that I have defined a function named index, request, render return render request index.html. What does this mean? So when the user has requested for this URL slash index, we have to show them this file index.html. So where is this index.html? This is in this Krishi Sahayak index file. So here I go to index.html. So this is the index.html, and in this I have basically written the code with simple HTML, and I have included the CSS file. So here what is Django template language I was talking about in the first. So can you see this load static in between percentage and second bracket? So what we do is, in Django, we have to use this Django templating language to connect the static files like CSS, images, etc. to the HTML files. So whenever we have an image or a linked CSS file or a linked JavaScript file, we have to include this load static. Then we have to include this curly bracket open percentage static. After that, we give the path for the image or the CSS file, and then we close it. So this is the syntax for including the static files, and this is very important. So in this way, we code our first index page. So now what I'll do is, and the normal is simple HTML and inline CSS used. So now I will run the server and show you what exactly happens. Python manage.py run server. So the server has run, and now I go to the link. Can you see this? So the moment I run the server, this page opens, and here is the link. So this is the first page. So the person has to sign up or log in. So now I go to sign up, and see here, the moment I go to sign up, this link becomes /sign up. How does this happen? We'll see. So now, why does the sign up appear? So we go to the urls.py in our app folder. So in urls.py, we see that when there is no path given, it is empty. It will give me views.index. It will call this function named index, and the name is given as index. So that's why we saw that first page, index.html. And then if someone gives this path sign up, so sign up, views.signup, name equals to sign up. The moment someone, the user, requests for the path /signup, it will show me, it will call this function named signup, and it will show me the signup.html page. So where is signup.html page? So we go to that page, and we see here that there is this page, signup.html. So this is normal HTML that has been written and using Django templating language. So sign up, there's a form as we had seen. So now what is the work of that views.py function that we are using? So we define a function named sign up, and when that function is requested or called, if request.method equals to post, then all these. So what does this mean? So we go back to this folder, signup.html, and here we see that there is a form and the method is written as post. So when someone submits this form, when the method is post, at that time this function has to be called and this has to run, this code has to run. So these are the names to the variables given, and request.post, the name again. So when someone fills this form given in this page and submits the form, so all those information given in the form goes into the database. So here is the form. So suppose the first name is there, the first name, and I have given it a name as S first name. So the same thing is written in views.py. s first name equals to request.post s first name. Hence, whenever the person types his first name and submits the form, the data gets stored. And we have to also print the data. So I use the print and I write all the variable names. After that I use ins, a variable, and sign up, and I assign the variables some value. So in this, what is this sign up? Sign up is a model that I have created in models.py. So in models.py, we create models. So these models are like the variables that we have created, those data that we get that is stored in the database. So for us, the database is DB SQLite 3. So I'll take you through the Django admin as well. So first we see the models.py. So sign up I have created as a model, and the variables, the data, I have assigned character field to this, and maximum length also I have defined. So, and after that I have defined self, return self dot variable name plus space plus variable dot surname or last name. So in this way, it will be visible in the Django admin interface. Now, what is this Django admin interface? Let's see that. So now we create the Django admin. How do we do that? We open a new terminal, and in that we will give the command python manage.py create super user. Python manage.py create super user. It asks me to give a username, so I give my name. So it says that the username is already taken, so I have to give something else. So I give a username. After that, email address, I skip it. Then password, you can give your password, then the password again, and then it warns me that the password is easy and common, short, so I ignore it for the time being. I click Y and enter. So super user created successfully. Now we see how it looks. Now to see the admin interface, we give a slash and we write admin to the URL, and then I click on enter. So it gives me this kind of a page. This I have not made. This is inbuilt Django admin interface. So I give the username and I give my password. Then I log in. Can you see this? This creates this for me. So now I go to signups. So I have already done a lot of signups in this page. So it is showing me this, but otherwise everything will be empty if you are making it for the first time. So everything will be empty for you. Now what I do is I will go to the users, and I see that these are the users that have come, and I can remove users if required. I can create groups. I can create several tables or data folders. So when I click on this, suppose, it gives the data all that the user has built in this format, and this is super easy to handle. We can also create new ones. We can add to these files and we can create new tables. We can delete it, we can edit it and save. So it is super easy to handle. So here also the date, time, everything, choose file for image, that can also be done. So it is super easy to handle and use and build the backend of the web application. Till now we have created our HTML files. So your HTML files, you can do numerous HTML files, and Django also provides a template function like the common parts like the navigation bar, the footer of the HTML files, all that you can take it in one folder which is common to all the files. So you can take that portion of the code and put it in a separate file named template. You can name the file as template.html, and you can link the template with all the other HTML files, so you don't have to write the same code again and again in all the files. So this is a very advantageous property or thing that Django provides. So I have all the HTML files, and in views.py I have created functions for all the HTML files. So at first in views.py I have to include this line first: from Django.shortcuts import render and HTTP response. Now from the app folder dot models, so from models I have to import the models that I have created. So as I was telling over here, what is this sign up? This has been created in the model, so that has been included over here. So now I return render request signup.html. So in this way I make functions for each and every HTML page: for index, for home.html, for sign up, for login. For all the pages I have made the functions, and in urls.py I have included the paths: home, sign up, login. For all the HTML pages I have included the paths and called the function using views.function name and then named the page. So for this page I have to include this: from Krishi Sahayak, the app folder, import views. So from Krishi Sahayak I am importing the views.py, and then I'm using calling the functions. Then how are we creating the models? So in the models I'm including the names, models.char field or integer field as per required, giving a max length, and I'm creating the models. So in views.py I will be importing the models from Krishi Sahayak folder. So all the models have been imported. Now I'll show you the working of the whole project once. So here I take you to the whole website. So first I go to sign up. I fill the detail, and then I sign up. So the detail has been filled. How do I understand? I go to the admin page and I check if my data is coming to the database. So this is what I filled recently, and yes, it has come. So good, our app is working. So I go back and I go to login. So I just log in and it brings me to the home page. So from here I first go to the shops corner, because first I have to upload some products. I'll show you how I can upload products from the backend. Like there are commercial websites like Amazon, for example. So when we go to Amazon, we do you think that the products are uploaded or updated from the front end of the website? Well, not at all. It is updated from the back end. So in that way only we will be updating it. So we first go to the shop, and then we see that the shopkeeper has two choices. One is uploading their products which they want to sell, and viewing orders. First we go and upload it. Product name, product ID, price, description, shopkeeper's name, shop name, and then location, contact number, date of posting, and I choose an image file. So I choose a random image file. Suppose I choose this and I upload it. So it has been uploaded. Now how do we check it has been uploaded? We now sign up as a farmer this time to check it. So I sign up as a farmer. So there are few data that has already been there. So I just sign up and now I log in as a farmer. So now I go to the farmer's corner. So there are several services available for the farmers, all type of farmers: agriculture, aquaculture, apiculture, livestock, agrobot, connecting with workers, etc. So I go to agriculture. They have three kinds of services available. They can buy products, they can sell products, they can rent products. So first I go to buy and then organic fertilizers. So now this page. What is so unique about this page? Product details have been updated over here. So recently we have updated a product, and if you remember, this was the details. So it has just got updated from the back end to the front end. So the shopkeeper updated it somewhere else from a different portal and it got updated over here from the back end. From the back end, we have fetched the data to the front end. So now suppose I want to buy this, and now the farmer wants to buy this, so that farmer has to fill in these details. So I fill in the details and also give the product ID, product name, I need around 23, and message, maybe I can just write a random message and I can buy. So after the farmer clicks on buy, we come to the shop view path in the URL and we see this. So how do we come to the shop view? I'll just show you that. So I log in, I go to the shops and I view orders. So here all the orders that has been placed comes. So the recent one is this one that has been highlighted below. This is the recent order that has been placed. So all the orders gets placed over here. The farmers, they upload the data or the order, they place the order from the front end. The order gets saved in the back end, and from the back end the data is fetched to the front end of the shopkeeper. So after this, we go back and then we explore the customer's corner. So here this is the customer's corner and the customers can buy the products fresh from the field. The website also promotes women empowerment in agriculture, like sweet making, pickle making, honey making, promoting their homemade products as well. This is the blog section. The blogs can also be updated from the backend. So in this way, I have created the project. Now I will show you few more things, like creating a payment gateway. So before that, I will show you how I am fetching the data from the backend to the front end. So the front end page where the shopkeeper views the orders is this one, created by normal HTML. So this is created and I have created a table. So here a table has been created. So in that table, first I give the table headings, whatever information is going to come. After that, to fetch the data. To fetch the data, I have used this syntax. First, I've used a for loop for orders in farmer by order. Run this code, like bring the orders, fetch the data from the backend to the front end and show it. So in this, then I have ended the for. So we go to the views.py and here I come to this page, shop upload. So shop upload, the shopkeeper uploads the products, and food order. So the farmer has ordered the food from there. We have created, this is the model name that we have created in models.py, and here the information is being taken. And then I've created a variable farmer by data. I have registered the model already, so that model I'm using over here. After that, I'm saving the data. Then I'm giving a response that after the person has filled the data and submitted, the response is like this, it will be showing, and return render request status response and orders farmer by order. So here I create a variable that I've created, and for that for loop I have created this. So now I go back to that page, and here I have used the for loop orders in farmer by order, and I have fetched the data over here. So this is how I was fetching the data. The farmer was placing an order and the shopkeeper was receiving the order. I have also created a payment gateway, as I said. So for the payment gateway, I have used Razorpay, and for the message sending property, like the moment the order is being placed, the shopkeeper gets a message in his phone. So for that message in his phone, I have used Twilio. So the code of the Twilio is found in the Twilio documentation. So that code can be seen and done. So this portion is used for the message, phone message. So the token, account ID, etc. is being given. The body of the message, from and to, everything is being given. This number is created in Twilio and the message is being printed. So this is how the messaging is being sent to the phone. So Django provides these services as well to be incorporated in our web app. So now we come to the end of the Django tutorial. Thank you. Have a great day.